Alright, we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered you here to inform you that we have lost a member of our group, Lieutenant Sarge.
He was a good man. No, I'm kidding. He was
is
horrible.
on vacation, so he is dead to us.
He's
I don't know.
dead.
Did we check behind the Arby's?
I haven't.
Dead.
It's so far away.
Honestly, there was a lot of blood. So much fucking blood.
It was menstrual blood. But it was blood.
God damn it, Ralph.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move into some alternate topics. That was our homage to you there, Sarge. We miss you already. Enjoy your vacation.
Yep,
Just,
enjoy.
Maybe come and see us every once in a while, but enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, enjoy your vacation. Make sure you come back, faggot.
And guys,
Okay,
And if
speaking
you
of
spend too
ISIS,
much time sucking James's dick, then I feel bad for you. Alright, anyways.
Alright, so speaking of Dices scum, we should dive right into some hashtag stupidity. Welcome, Ellie.
Allie's here. Yay. Be fun now. Alright,
So,
Why is it because I make funny noises?
that, and you'll actually be able to talk about Sargon going full retard.
that also, so yeah, we bring you in for the choking noises, which are completely unrelated to the whale cum and Cheetos dust.
Okay.
And also, so yeah, okay, I guess we can go with that first. So tell me about this whole Sargon thing. I mean, I was in there for part of it. I just disagreed with the guy on something.
Alright, well,
But-
I know the gist of it. Hey, John, if you want to come on here and explain the full impact of Sarge retardation and your bad diction, then be my guest.
Like it was just that I was disagreeing with him on one thing, and that's okay. It's just that he kept going, and that was also okay. But it was just like, all right, dude, you can calm down a little bit about this. I know he was getting like shat on from all directions. So it
Pretty
wasn't
much
exactly,
what happened is that Sargon made some offhanded comments about Verillo, John Kelly, and a few others, to which he then got rebutted on Twitter. And at some point, he lost his fucking mind and went full salt all over Twitter. And then it escalated from there, because the more he salt-spurged on Twitter, the more people jumped in and just started trolling the shit out of him, to which he upped his salt levels and doubled down on retardation, and it continued for like 15 hours.
so wait, it wasn't the A-team like everybody says?
No, boy.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. It was the A-team.
Yes,
well,
Seriously.
Turdax,
What do you mean,
it's all your fault, man. It's all your fault, Turdax. It's all you, man. You did it.
Fucking God, that will never die.
No!
Like, oh wait a
You gotta
second,
have-
you were a part of the A-team once in your life beforehand, and you are now representative of the still functional A-team that totally
No,
exists.
Listen, I gotta give them credit. They created a boogeyman for Gamergate that will never die. It will go down in infamy as the boogeyman. Forever.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can move past that. We'll come back to it, I guess, later.
Honestly, I want to hear what Ali has to say about Sargon
okay.
before we go. Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Okay, Allie.
To be honest, some of the things he'd been saying recently kind of strike me as hypocritical, I guess you could say. Like, it sounds a lot like stuff SJWs would say in relation to Gamergate.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of sweeping generalizations, the buzzwords and whatnot, and it just is like,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that. It's
It's one of those things that makes me just go, okay, maybe you need to back off and just go ahead and make more of your videos, please.
Yeah, it's nothing against the guy. He should just kind of calm down a little bit. Just take a small break. It doesn't
I
even
have
have to be
something
10
against him.
days. It could be like 2 days.
He's ruining the word collectivism and collectivist. Like,
Yeah, well, you know what? I
He's
had to
gonna
say
ruin that
this.
word.
John
Yeah.
and more Verilo specifically did not do any wonders for the word cuck.
That is true, but
I'm sorry, but you abuse that word like you do John with his diction. Okay, it's just not
but there's
fair
a difference
that
between
you've
the
done such a
John
bad thing
diction
to the word
meme.
cuck.
There's a difference between making fun of John Kelly's diction with memes and when Varlo says cuck 70,000 times in an article about Sargon. Love you.
No, it's just like seriously, everything has to be cuck for whatever fucking reason, and it's ethics cuck. I get it. Yeah, and there it goes. John, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
In the comments.
Cuck. Fuck you, John Kelly.
It's just like it's not even tangentially related to the fucking word's definition. You know, we complain about other people defining their own shit in such a way that it ruins the word, and then it happens.
That's my problem, though. It's like I don't think people quite understand that the only reason words have meaning is because we as a society generally agreed upon base definitions for these words. And where there might be a little wiggle room for a definition on certain words, we all agreed that words had standard definitions. And when you change them to fit an agenda, you're destroying the word. It becomes meaningless. It becomes nothing.
So, tell me, do you think after the author has written those words that the author is dead?
Is it? Well, wait a minute. Is it Schrodinger's author?
Well, here
The author
I'm gonna
might be dead until
I'm gonna answer your question by completely destroying the author is dead thing.
Please do go on.
All right. So
enlighten us.
when somebody writes something, right? I'm gonna use Dragon Ball Z as an example. Yes, I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanboy, but it's perfect. All right, Kira Toriyama made Dragon Ball Z, and every single Dragon Ball channel fan fiction, this discussion that is done about Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama as a person is put at the forefront of that conversation within it because people like, well, what did he mean when he did this episode? What did he mean when Vegeta or Goku did this? That he is gonna infinitely be put in the forefront of the conversation because people, will wonder what he was thinking, just like people will wonder what an artist was thinking when they made a painting. So no, the author is not dead, and it will never be dead because people are going to put the artist or author in the conversation forever. So
okay, you say that, and I'm going to segue here, but I mean, how does that really affect like other art forms, if you will, like say technology? And we're moving towards a related hashtag here in a moment.
mm-hmm.
Do you ever wonder what exactly was going through the artist's mind when they decided to shape, say, a blender?
That is a good question, and I'm sure there are people that have wondered it. It's been weird.
It is a form of art there to have that structure.
No, it has. It absolutely is, and I'm sure people have wondered. Just randomly. I wonder what the guy who invented a blender was thinking when he invented the blender.
Probably want to chop this shit up really fast.
Well, isn't it usually the case? You invent something to fulfill a role that you don't want to
Yeah, but the shape of the vessel didn't have to take that specific form. It could have been, say, spherical, or it could have been entirely cylindrical. Right?
A spherical blender would probably be difficult to operate in.
All right. Now,
so anyway, we're migrating towards the hashtag Take Back the Tech.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is so fucking funny, hilarious.
Yeah.
I contributed in shitting up that tag.
Well, what did you contribute to that tag?
A little bit.
Can you give us any examples?
Me too. I'll give you my example. I said we need to take back the tech from people who can't name 3 video games on national TV.
How poignant! I actually have this fantastic tweet.
No, see, they can name 3 games. Well, 2. They can name 2 games probably: Call of Duty and Halo. That's it. That's the only games I have faith in the mainstream media being able to name, and that's only because those games are mainstream media games.
You forgot Battlefield.
All right, Battlefield.
Okay, no,
that's
here
right.
we go.
They can name 3.
Well, here's the fantastic example of how we need to take back the tech.
Hey, look! It's the fraud and it's the liar.
Actually, they're both frauds, and they're both
Well,
liars.
the 2 most relevant people, right? Welcome, Nick. How goes it?
Fuck you, Craig.
Nick, go smoke a cigarette.
Hey, Craig, put me up for a second.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on a second. Da-da-da. There you go.
Max, you can't tell me to go smoke a cigarette if I just came from doing that.
Hey, Sarge is in the chat. Jig is up.
Hi, Sarge. I'm still gonna stand by what I said. Stop sucking on his dick, James.
Damn it, James.
Sarge, why are you sucking dick, man?
Hey,
fucked
we
up,
said he's
right?
on vacation, and what happens on vacation will live on forever here.
What
The
happened?
internet never
So
forgets.
how about them fucking posts?
Yeah.
Alright.
Frickin'. This is what I mean when I said to you earlier, Varric. People are fucking retarded, especially on Twitter. It's golden.
Yeah, dude, straight up, somebody told me the sun is unpredictable. I was like, oh my god, fucking stupid.
Well, hold on a second. Let's go through that.
Yeah, I apologize for my lateness. One, I haven't eaten much, and I was just sitting in my car smoking and eating. But 2, I was dealing with somebody who said the sun's unpredictable. So feel free to go through that.
So, Nick, why are you telling us you're dealing on stream? You know, this isn't protected speech here. That could be used against you.
Telling you my what?
Why are you telling us you're dealing?
My dealing?
Yeah, what are you dealing?
What?
I'm not dealing anything.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Twitter has this thing called moments now. This looks like a fresh new layer of bullshit.
It is.
Twitter is
Yeah,
It totally is.
useless.
Okay.
Varric.
Yeah,
What did you say he's doing?
dealing.
He thinks I'm a drug dealer because I sit in my car and I smoke cigarettes.
No,
Despite the
I don't
fact
think
that
you're a drug dealer for that reason.
See, now he's being careful because he can be taken to court.
No, see, Nick, I don't think you're a drug dealer. I just think you have a really bad addiction to cigarettes. Go smoke
Yes.
a cigarette, Nick.
Actually, I'm really to the point where my
Smoke.
neurological system is so overloaded with
Oh.
nicotine. I could probably quit and not feel it.
Oh, shut up and go smoke a cigarette.
So anyway, Nick, you wanted to do a stream yesterday, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to do that. I got home and I was just fucking dead tired.
Did you see my DMs?
I did. I'm sorry. What the fuck was that?
I was.
Covert fucking
Fucking smack
nukes, I
biscuits,
see.
Craig.
I was like, we were talking about global politics and shit. Alright,
And
And-
Hawaii, Sarge.
I will be right back. Sorry.
alright. Fuck.
He's going to get Craig biscuits.
Alright, Ali, you remember how we were talking about global politics the other day?
Yeah.
And, like, we were on the discussion of possibility of nukes? John Kelly said
Boring.
covert nuke. Like,
Oh
what?
yeah, covert nuke strike. Yeah, that's right.
I was like,
Is it-
oh, come on.
All right, Nick, let me ask you this question. Is it on a bipedal tank?
Yeah. A walking tank.
Ah,
Fucking Metal
It
Gear.
is also
Metal-
solid.
No,
It's also
Metal Gear Ray.
solid,
No, it's Metal Gear Ray.
relatively metallic in nature.
Metal
It's
Gear Ray. Metal Gear Ray.
metalloids in there. Not
Metal
much
Gear
use
Ray.
non-metals.
Metal
Shut
Gear
up,
Ray.
Matt.
Go smoke a cigarette.
Fuck you, dude. I don't need to smoke a cigarette.
You do.
No,
Dude,
I want a place
your
to.
picture is dancing cigarettes.
I think
You
that
wanna-
speaks volumes of your inability to not smoke. Because
I
I can
don't
sit there-
smoke.
Well, I can sit there and look at the cigarettes all day and like be perfectly fine.
You know you want a cigarette, man.
I always want a cigarette. However, it's not an addiction to the point where I'm overcome.
Nah, you know you want it.
No, I'm good to go.
It's kind of like when Allie wants to look at a swag biscuit. She knows she's gonna look at a swag biscuit, so it just happens. You know you want a cigarette, so you're gonna go smoke a cigarette.
No, I'm not, dude. Why do you suck so much at this?
Because you need to smoke a cigarette, man. It is what it is, man. I mean, listen, you can be salty about this, or you cannot be salty about this,
Well-
but at the end of the day, you just gotta go smoke a cigarette.
I see that Oswag left, and nothing of value is lost.
Yes.
Oh wait, I can make a full screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Percentage.
Oh my god. That's for you, full Shamus. That's all you, buddy. All you. Look at it. Glory. Actually, except for the one that has a picture of Sargon. That is for Sargon this week.
That is the most ethical biscuit we have.
Go to the Sargon one, Alley. Abort. There you go.
The most ethical biscuit possible.
Abort.
We do need new biscuits, John. Get on it.
Alright, so I see neutrons are dark matter, and science can't explain neutrons.
Yeah, like,
I'm
I was
fucking
like-
curious. How exactly did that go down?
we were talking about nukes and shit, and then Kelly, like, offhand remark, said something about covert nukes. I was like, motherfucker, this is not
Yeah,
like...
I agreed with you on that. We had to explain to him that no matter what you do, the nuke is gonna get detected because radar systems can detect it. It's gonna happen.
So-
it's gonna show up.
The only way to block a nuke from being detected at all is to bury that shit in concrete.
Yeah, really.
Like- As in 10 to 30 feet of concrete.
What if we mount nukes on
No,
a
see,
drill?
And
We're
even
not
then, you're still
talking-
above
slowly.
background in the area.
No, we were talking, like, John was saying, like, because Nick asked him how he would nuke somebody if he was gonna nuke somebody if he was a nuclear power. And John said something retarded, it's like, I just launch a covert nuke in America, they would never
No.
detect it.
No.
And we had to explain to him that the radar systems would detect it even if you used lead, which blocks out like 90%
Well, fuck, you'd
of,
have to
of
launch it
radiation
in lead
leakage.
in order for that to work.
No,
Yeah, otherwise Superman
No,
will.
no. Here's
it's,
like
no,
you
lead,
cannot avoid radiation.
you
That-
can't.
Like
Lead will
set off
only
a
absorb.
bomb, we'll get
Lead will
alpha,
only-
beta, and neutron
Well, you
radiation.
surely shit know where it landed, but I'm saying, like, just to know, like, to block how it got there. Like,
I mean, it's like you're gonna be able to detect.
okay, so
on
right
radar.
now, John is saying that is not what he said, and so
No, that's
we'll go ahead.
exactly what
That
I
is
said.
he said. That is what he said. Varric, you were there.
No, I'm saying this is
John
John is
has to
saying
remove
that's
or
like
anything.
that's not what John said.
Okay. Well, John did say
No,
it.
fine.
John, if you want to come in and defend yourself, Dr. Daedalus, then come in here now.
Dr. Daedalus.
There you go.
He's too much of a pussy to come in here. Pussy.
Oh no, I've got a fun little twist on this.
He's probably too busy sucking Verlo's diction to get on stream. But it's okay, John. We understand. We have more important things to talk about. Like the UN. Let's talk about the UN.
Hold on a sec. Let's bring him in for a minute.
Oh, Lord. Kill me. Fucking kill me.
Will do.
Hey, man.
Actually, this is what I said. I didn't say tactical nuke, blah, 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 blah.
No, you said covert nuke, motherfucker.
But my diction's bad, so that's my excuse.
John,
Fucking kill me.
check the Skype chat. Check our Skype cabal chat.
The cabal.
Matt, I have an idea.
Yes.
What if we try reverse psychology?
Okay, what?
Well, you sort of defeat
Here.
the point by saying you're gonna do that.
Yeah, you, I mean, you could still reverse psychology.
Suck at psyops, dude.
You could
Dude.
still do it, but it'd be harder. Because somebody's gonna expect it.
I love this. Even if another power detects a nuclear detonation, there's no guarantee they'll report it. They learn about this stuff through the scientific network because all the sensors are for research purposes. That's the way they figure this shit out. Like, there's still background from detonations that occurred decades ago.
Yep.
That is, well above what it would have been otherwise. It's detectable.
No, but I just want to address what you said. Even if you encase a nuke in lead and launch it, right?
Which is
It's still gonna leak.
Tons of
It's
energy.
still gonna leak,
Oh, okay.
and it's still gonna be detectable. It's still gonna be detectable. It might not be as detectable. I'll agree to that, but it's still gonna be detectable.
Plus, there is this massive object in the sky disturbing all these air particles.
That too.
Your ego?
Well, they account for that. That's what's called background radiation. Hubble's constant. Or Nick's ego.
So, Nick, I'm curious. Did you mess with the Take Back the Tech hashtag at all?
Yeah, I said one thing. I was like, why are a bunch of non-plebs talking about taking shit back that never belonged to them? Fuck you guys, get a STEM degree or shut
I don't
up.
think you quite listened to what I had to say about that. And keep in
Oh,
mind,
here we go, people.
I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm not a nuclear war expert, so if
Clearly,
if
by
you
the
want to make
fact that
fun
you
of me
just
for
said
all
nuclear.
Wait.
Yeah, nuclear. Oh, are you George Bush?
No, wait. This has to be
Okay,
said before
Max,
John Kelly.
please.
This has to
don't
be
mute
said.
John.
No, please. This has to be said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, he said, "I'm not an expert." Now let's go back in time for a second to a person I like to call Helicopter Guy. I am in no means an expert on feminism, is what he said. All right, John Kelly, continue. I'm sorry, I
Right.
destroyed you.
That was good reminiscence. Thank you.
Well, the point is, I don't think you quite listened to what I said, and I'm gonna probably rephrase this. What I was trying to propose was that it might be possible to either take a nuclear weapon on foot, or take the parts to build a nuclear weapon on foot, bring them into the country that you're trying to attack, then
What?
that way.
Okay, everything
With
but the radioactive part you could probably get away with. But as you've seen, we got pissed off when Iraq imported tubes that were too big.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a nuclear war expert, so I don't know. It was a private conversation.
All right.
So
All right, I want you to do two things for me. I want you to say the word new, and I want you to say the word clear.
I said it correctly.
No,
and then
you
please
said
put them
nuclear.
together.
You said nuclear or some fucking.
I'm saying nuclear.
George W. Bush.
Say nuclear. Nuclear. Just say
Well,
it.
if you can't
Nuclear.
understand words, that's not my problem, frankly.
Just say it, man. Just say
No.
it.
Nuclear.
No,
Three
John.
syllables, not two.
We're not trying to tell you to
I'm
say it.
making it real simple.
No, listen, John. Just say the word nuclear the way you say it. I'm not even saying say it the way I say it. Just say it. Just say the word. Come on, really? Damn.
You rage quit.
All right.
Well, I
Before we
did
do anything
rage
else
quit,
here,
but I did want to talk to Nick because Nick had some very bad logic on Twitter he had to say to me about argument ad assertion and ad nauseum.
Hey,
Based on
man,
my conversation,
You're welcome to
based on
open
that
that can of
conversation,
worms.
I know you know neither of those two things.
Oh snap! It's
Called
going down.
out.
Firstly, ad nauseum is not a logical fallacy. It's a means of ending a conversation by saying that this argument has reached ad nauseum by both parties agreeing that there is no further point in deliberating on the
But-
issue.
John, what if one party doesn't agree to ad nauseum?
Well, then they can. Well, it's not really an issue then. It's not an argument. It's just a proposal to end the conversation. That's the first point.
It's a form. When it's a fallacy, it is a form of argument by repetition.
That's
And
argument
secondly, it's just the formal Latin name for argument by repetition.
Right. But what you were saying was that I was arguing argument as assertion. You weren't able to demonstrate the assertions, so therefore you don't know that you don't know argument at a repetition or argument as assertion.
You demonstrated it better than I could have ever done. I mean, you did
That's
it.
an assertion again. I think that you are doing argument repetition.
With Satan and Sargon, 2 hours of which you spent arguing the same goddamn point with Satan, who, by the way, is quite eloquent. I did not expect that.
Did you suck his dick?
No, I didn't touch it.
Oh, snap.
It's
No,
not
but
a
I think
cigarette,
he
dude.
would have
It
enjoyed his
may
diction.
be burning and fiery and brimstone, but it's not a cigarette. I'm just saying, man. That's pretty gay, bro. But anyway, yeah, you don't know either of those two things, so I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Damn.
Oh, well, for somebody talking about ethics, told me to kill myself over it.
Oh, damn.
For that one point, I
Let's
should commit
go.
suicide?
The salt.
Do you
The
not
salt.
you not listen to words? I didn't say to go kill. I don't believe I've ever told you to go kill yourself.
I remember verbatim. I said I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah,
for
that point.
invoking this logical fallacy bullshit.
Oh, that point. Yeah, the
Yeah.
reason I told you to go kill yourself was because I
And
didn't
then
want to have
you
the
turned
argument
around and
because
said,
it wasn't worth it.
Should have.
This is good. This is good shit. Continue, please.
Popcorn.
I mean, like, is your point that important to you?
Yes.
Yep.
Dude, he studied Verlo's diction. Of course it's important to him. Oh, Verlo, you're so dreamy. Bruh, I'm not getting any hits on my article. I need hits, man.
Y'all got any more of them
420,
hits?
Do you have any hits of viewers?
Yeah, that video I still had some problems with. Like, I think Verilo pretty much nailed it. Like, why was he making a Dubro version of him when it's clearly easier to do the Hispanic voice?
You know, I thought that was a really good critique.
Yeah.
I thought,
See, that's the thing is I think you actually could have made it way funnier had they come and asked for you for comment.
Yeah.
Because I don't see why you guys would have outright rejected it.
Well, the funny thing is about that is they got saltier because we didn't react the way they wanted to.
Oh, it was fucking priceless. Like I don't know why they wouldn't see like you guys approving of it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they be so butthurt about that? Because it's fantastic critique.
Yeah. Like, we can take jokes. I don't think that people realize that, when you make a joke on the internet, it's not the end of the world. Like,
No, it's a joke on the internet. You walk away from it.
you don't even have to walk away from it. You can embrace it. That's the thing.
he
that
nailed
people don't
Sargon.
realize.
I have to say, he did a perfect impression of Sargon.
Yeah. Well,
Except now he has to do a new impression of Sargon. Kill yourselves.
Hold on. So is this yet another dumbass hashtag? Admit your white privilege.
Oh god.
It's self-evidently another dumbass hashtag.
Yeah.
Alright.
That was a rhetorical question.
well,
Oh,
yeah,
actually,
well,
the actual question part was, is it new?
well, to go over like Nick's critique of the debate against Satan, yeah, it was poor rhetoric on my part. What I should have done was just basically after a certain point, I should have just called Satan a retard and just ended the stream because that's what he was doing.
Oh my god, Satan was the only one making a salient point.
What? Huh? Sorry, it got really boring. I heard somebody talk about like a subject we talked about 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry, what?
Mm. Now, you see, this is where Nick should say, yeah, that's real argument at assertion. But then again, he doesn't know what that means, so.
Damn! Them digs. Them digs.
Hey, good night, Ellie.
Good night, Allie.
So, what else is new? Because I'm really getting tired of hearing about that Carl Benjamin.
All right,
John.
ladies, I can solve this argument in
Oh.
2 seconds for you. I
I'm not having an argument.
I can solve it. Ladies, chill. Your panties are in a bunch. All right, John, your diction sucks, and Nick, go smoke a cigarette and play GTA 5. See, we're good. We're good.
Well, I'm doing 1 out of 2, so I can only do so much.
All right. Well, yeah, you're good, man. But John still needs to go suck Verlo's diction, and then the argument ends.
Whatever. Anyway.
Anyways.
So there's this fantastic hashtag which is being poured into with bullshit. Admit your white privilege.
Yep.
Oh, I heard about this, and it just seems to me like it's like another hashtag the feminists came up with, and people are co-opting it, and like I guess if you want to have fun with it, have fun with it. But to me, it's just like this is kind of old hat at this point, you know?
Yeah, it kind of is.
So you mean like by admitting my white privilege that I have to pay more for tuition because I don't get as many grants?
Yes.
Okay.
Good grief.
Nah, you
But
have to admit your white privilege that you're a hateful, spiteful, racist, sizist, everything under the sun.
I think it's easier just to adopt all those labels. That way you can make whatever insults you want, and if they call you any of those things, you can just say, so, I am a racist. I am a sexist.
Everyone's a little bit racist.
Yeah. I wanted to make my announcement now, Craig. Can I make it?
Make your announcement.
Alright, cool. So I'm going to be blunt with everybody. I'm probably going to quit Twitter soon because fuck Twitter and, frankly, fuck all the idiots on Twitter. But that's not my announcement. My announcement is this. Alright, I have come to a very enlightened epiphany about how to deal with these assholes. And it is pretty much this. I'm not going to reward stupidity. I'm not going to give them a platform. When a child does something bad and they continue to do something bad, what do? You punish them. You make sure that they know it's wrong. So here's the thing. Yes, what I'm going to suggest is censorship. I don't care. I refuse to give people a fucking platform to speak on. Idiots should not speak. Yep. There.
So, if you're gonna promote censorship, I'm just gonna start censoring you.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. But
that is the appropriate response.
For real. I honestly, with people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn should not be rewarded with a platform to speak. That's it.
I would say people pay attention to them. So it's better to drown them out.
I like rewarding everyone else with a platform to speak at that point.
I prefer the QQ approach. You can say whatever stupid, offensive shit you want, but in return, I get to ridicule you.
For that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like they're proposing draconian laws of which to like censor the internet. I'm saying propose draconian laws that ensure that people like that cannot propose draconian laws ever again. And there you go.
Well, there's an easy way to handle this. I think Fox Day came up with a code to prevent prevent SJW infiltration. Rule 1: there will be no code of conduct. Rule 2: see rule number 1.
No.
Yes, see simplecodeofconduct.org.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying people like Anita can't speak. Go ahead, speak. I'm just saying them going to the UN should never happen again. They should not you do not reward retards.
I'm sorry, but a lot of, and it's unfortunate, but many of their humanitarian outreaches have turned into shit, and this is just one fantastic example of that.
And they can blow cock. What do you want me to tell you, man? That's it. These idiots are gonna continue to freaking infiltrate and blow off government regulations until they get it passed. And
this, by the way, is our very simple code of conduct.
And it is a very nice one. So, I mean, we can wait and continue to do what we've been doing, which has worked so far, and just continue to say no, or and eventually they're gonna pass something that's gonna happen, or we can just propose
What's the
that
gonna pass?
propose a law that goes into effect saying if you're proposing anything that would censor
Okay.
stifle free speech or censor the internet, you can't do it.
You
You're
mean like
retarded.
CPP?
Max, seeing as that law would get shot down pretty quickly after someone got the misfortune of being targeted by it, I would approve of that possibility it being present only if they call it Chelsea's law.
But
I think
honestly, I'm not gonna reward retardation with the platform anymore. I'm not going to acknowledge it.
Well, here's my question: how did you reward it before? Like, you're gonna stop doing something? How were you rewarding that?
I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Honestly, I'm done. Frankly, I've come to a point where I realize that is the only logical way out. Either we can propose a law that says anybody who is going to stifle free speech or censor the internet by proposing such things, that this law will say no, you can't do that. You're not allowed. Go away. Very simple. I don't think that's unreasonable at all either. It just says
the
if you're
only
retarded.
way your plan will work is if everyone stops paying attention to those two and more. Like, they would have to stop paying attention to those two.
Oh, you don't have to stop paying attention to them. I'm not saying they can't speak. I'm saying just if everybody who has consistently said no to the laws that these people have been advocating for were to advocate a law that made sure that these people could never advocate another law again, it's over. Instant win condition met. Not then they can talk out their asses for the rest of their lives because it will never mean anything. They will never get what they want. There will be no end condition for them because they have been blocked. There is now a gate that says unless you're saying something meaningful, you're fucked. You will not get
you've run into one of the paradoxes that you hit in STEM all the time, where people have been crying over how they can't figure out a way to separate out the stupid people from the not stupid people without being some kind of totalitarian eugenicist.
Yep. Well, that is really semantic.
How do you make people understand? Can't you just make them understand? No, it doesn't work like that.
No. See, honestly, it's tough love. That's the way I would put it. Like, people are retarded, and I'm not going to reward retardation. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say that there should be a law that says if you're saying retarded shit and trying to advocate this retarded shit, you can't advocate for it as far as legal goes.
So, like all other slippery slope laws, you leave in a very wide lane of interpretation for something very simple.
No, I'm not saying
who is going to be making.
I'm not
this
saying
decision.
Leave wide interpretation, because I'm saying
no. You've already done so. Who is going to be making the distinction between what is and is not something stupid?
This is why I was about to say a law like that would have to be very carefully worded. As I said, a great example is pretty much anything that falls under stifling free speech, freedom of press, this, that, or censoring the internet, big one. Anything under that, any proposed laws any proposed laws that are advocating any of that stuff, and maybe a couple other things that are grievous misconstitutional bullshit,
but
blocked.
You see, the UN latched onto this because for years now they've been trying to take the domain name registry away. They've basically been trying to absorb ICANN.
I know they're taken away from the public domain. Yes.
Oh, no, they're trying to absorb ICANN.
Yes. And
they don't like that it's an independent company. They think it's purely under U.S. control because of its physical location.
Yep.
And they don't like that it is subject to U.S. laws because of its physical location, and they would like to make it a UN thing, which just means they're going to fuck it up like they do everything else they do. So, I mean, they're going to go ahead and play right into this because it means they get more power on the internet, at least perceptive power.
Yep. But no, that's all I wanted to say. I made my point. I don't know.
Well, I have a better solution. When it comes to Anita
Kill
and
them all.
Billy Smith, well, that's always a solution.
It's
But
not just them too. I mean, yes, they're two of the biggest retards, quote unquote. But like,
Yeah, the last 5 minutes.
there's more in the bunch than just them. But
I have an
go
alternative.
on.
Like Marsha.
No, burn down the UN. It's useless. It doesn't help anyone.
Well, no. It helps
Sure
the
it
UN.
does. It helps dictators.
It helps the UN a
Oh,
lot.
let's just. Yeah, okay, it doesn't help anyone except the UN and dictators. In other words,
No,
all
hey.
the people that should not be helped.
Hey, John.
It also helps
let-
us spend a lot of money on them.
Yeah, John. Let's give the UN the 1% credit. They help
No.
third world countries as long as it benefits them.
Do we really want to bring up how much taxpayer money goes to the UN?
They pay for about a third of their
See,
budget.
this is why I said they help third world countries as long as it benefits them. You see why I added that last part in there.
Yeah. Caveat emptor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
For the layman out there, beware of what you buy.
Well, let the
Yeah.
buyer beware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Vote with your
I
wallet.
said it wrong. Jesus fucking
Vote
Christ.
with it. Just say vote with your wallet. They'll help.
Yeah, but you see, that according to people out there, that isn't democracy for some reason.
That's
It's because the whaling hyper-consumers have control then.
I still propose that the UN should be just completely removed as a recognized political body. All that would have to be done is the United States just has to say, okay, we're done with this. We're not going to hold this anymore.
well. This is the thing, John. I mean, most countries already don't really care about the UN. It's kind of like that joke at this point. It's like,
No,
the
no.
UN.
Hans Bricks is very important.
It's like, oh, the UN. I remember them. They were relevant 70 years ago.
Pretty much, I guess.
No, they
Then-
drop little yellow packages off in the Middle East. You know, the ones that look like the bombs, but they're filled with food.
See, that's what I meant. They get 1% credit relevancy because they help third world countries as long as it benefits them.
Well, but they still have clout and influence on a global scale, and they'll often be used.
Yeah,
as some
with
kind of
disagreements
a-
because they're the kings of them.
Yeah, but they'll still be used as a vector to push certain policies and conducts across the world.
Of course, that's
Well, give
always
them
been
about-
the way.
Give them about another 10 years to become relevant again, because remember, the Security Council is currently made up of, well, 3, I guess you could call Russia, China, and the U.S. superpowers now.
Okay,
you
so
know,
we can agree that the organization and body itself is irrelevant, correct? Well,
What I'm saying is that
disagreement-
the Security Council has on its members, it has the 7 members with veto power, right?
Yep.
all right.
And so, right in about 10 years, it's going to become relevant again. And yeah, I agree. Right now, you could say they're more or less irrelevant. But like in 10 years, when after Russia's kind of stormed through wherever the hell it's going right now, I think any direction is going to be a direction that pisses off everyone. But
I'd say that.
but the way it's going right now, like any resolution is like basically it's going to become a proxy political war. I think what's going to happen is the U.S. is probably going to find a way to get rid of Russia's veto power,
Probably.
which would be basically the first step to dissolution.
You know,
Ugh.
speaking of Russia,
Fill me
I
with
think-
hope, why don't you?
Yeah,
I
really.
think Russia is like their biggest punishment. This is like worst case scenario for Russia. They're gonna lose the ability to have a world army.
No,
Just
they're
like
going
Germany.
to get a strongly worded letter.
No, they're just gonna get their
From
their
the-
ass.
They're going to get a
They're
strongly
gonna
worded
get
letter
ass
from the
fucked.
Homeowners Association.
They're gonna get
Definitely.
ass fucked by multiple nations invading them, and then after that happens, like the
We saw you naked through the window on the street.
yeah.
put up some
After
blinds.
that, they're gonna draft a resolution to end such a war, and then it's gonna say that Russia is no longer allowed to have an army or any formal military other than the National Guard.
Oh yeah, because that totally worked out well for Japan.
Actually, they have recently just put back in the ability for them to use the military for operations of their government outside of Japan. And that was in response to the request over and over again for them to send in forces for NATO.
Yeah. I mean, look at Germany. They're never allowed to have a form of military other than the National Guard,
Okay, so
which
we
is
agree
which
that
is
the UNs are
UK.
relevant. The question is, how dangerous are they? Because it sounds to me they could potentially be very, very dangerous. And if
Yes,
they're relevant,
they could. Yeah.
yes, then why not just get rid of them?
Well, see, this is the thing, man. It's a case of, do we attack Russia and
That'd be dumb.
like possibly provoke them into nuking somebody, or do we not attack
No, I
Russia
wasn't talking about Russia.
and wait for Russia to attack somebody else?
No,
Actually, he's talking about the UN.
Oh, the
Yeah.
UN. Okay.
Now, attacking the UN would be very funny, but that would also be a terrible idea because it's here.
It would.
It would
Yeah.
be very funny, though. I have to say that Max's proposal is actually a very good one. We storm the UN building in Manhattan.
From all directions.
Yes.
Don't allow them to have an official army anymore.
The best
Oh.
part is they're on our own soil, so the enemy's already surrounded and lost.
There you go.
I mean,
Classic.
you know what you could do is
Advocate
what
for
I
a revolt.
But I was having a joking argument with Nick the other day when I said hire a private army to attack Russia. John, just hire a private army, a privatized, no country unified army to attack the UN. That way, there's no country
Call
to link back
Blackwood.
to. No,
Yeah,
there's no country to link back to.
What, are they all going to be speaking Esperanto?
No, for real. Go hire some of the Mexican cartel to attack the UN, and then there you go.
What is your name? What is your name? It's Coyote, motherfucker.
Shit, because they totally couldn't make more money selling cocaine. I tell you what, the cartels are going to turn out like the mobsters of the 30s. They're just going to wind up buying a country instead of a city.
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, they have the money right now where they could go buy a huge island that isn't
Well,
owned
they
by
could
any
buy
country.
Mexico, but then again,
Probably.
they already have.
I don't
They already
want
own,
to
they
own
already
Mexico.
own half of Mexico, though.
Well, they've already bought out half of the political parties there too.
Yeah, they own half of Mexico
they own-
just because they have it occupied. Like they,
They
don't
own half
actually
by
own it,
personnel of the Senate there or whatever.
but they occupy half that country.
Yeah. Well, the parts on the middle and the sides
Yeah.
and around
The
there
only
too.
parts that aren't owned are severely freaking guarded by Mexican
Now that said,
army.
when I went down,
officials.
in undergrad, I went and me and a couple of buddies of mine did a cruise down there, and we stopped
yeah.
by Cozumel and Belize City. And I have to tell you, Cozumel is still, Cozumel still makes Belize City look like a third world country. Sorry, that makes yeah, it's because it is. Might as well be. Now, Cozumel seemed very normal. It's just that everyone spoke Spanish because it was Mexico. Belize
Yep.
City looked like it was probably run by a cartel. It was ridiculous.
Tumbleweed.
I mean, that's
Like
basically
the beach that we went to was militarily guarded.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, any parts of Mexico that aren't occupied by the Mexican cartel are heavily guarded by the Mexican army.
Well, this is Belize, so it was a different country.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's bad.
Well, interestingly enough, isn't Syria technically a proxy war?
Yes,
More or less.
more or less, yeah.
I mean,
And
there's
didn't-
more factions than want to be admitted as involved, but it's effectively at this point several proxy wars.
So basically, it's like Gamergate because there's more than two sides as much as everybody.
Well, there's
isn't-
the U.S. versus BRIC, and then there's also the whole issue of the people living there, and there's a couple other factions involved. So it's just a clusterfuck yet again.
Yep.
Man.
Just,
But
hoping here's the hope it doesn't
the
spread
reason
outside
why
the
I was
country.
bringing that up is because didn't the United States blink?
little bit.
Well, it's what happens when you keep drawing fucking lines in the sand and backing up.
I mean, eventually we're just gonna back ourselves into a corner and then have
Well,
to.
that whole thing where they used a freaking barrel of chlorine, and they said, "No, that's not a weapon. That's not chemical weapons." And I hate that
Chemical
term.
warfare.
I hate that term on its own because everything's a fucking chemical. You know, just all right, fine. It wasn't a projectile. It was a barrel of chlorine, and someone put a bullet in it. And boom.
I think the reason is because chemical warfare is touchy. It's a very touchy subject.
Well,
Because everybody's worried about biological or nuclear warfare. They
Yeah.
forget mustard gas of the First World War and how horrific that was.
just like I said before, though, like simple chlorine is horrifying.
It
mustard
is.
gas.
And mustard gas is even worse as a blistering agent.
Yep. And it'll kill you.
Well, yes, but you know, it's like chlorine is used in industrial synthesis. Mustard gas is not used very often for anything other than killing people. I mean, you know, it's
Put
like
it-
if they could
put it
release
this way.
phosgene, and that would be bad too.
Put it this way. It's a very touchy subject because, you know, they don't know what's going on and what's being used for what.
Yeah, like I said, everybody talks a lot of shit about nuclear warfare and biological warfare, but they've all forgotten just how awful mustard gas was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I mean the Rock as that scene at the beginning where
Honestly-
they have the guy get caught in the VX, like that wasn't a terribly far off depiction of how horrific that gas is. It's
Honestly,
very bad.
like, Nick, you remember what I told you? If Russia nuked the West Coast, what if they just launched a fuck ton of biological agents instead?
That's really where they could get away with fucking us.
Yeah. No, like if they just launched like a fuck ton of biological agents across the entire west coast of the US and then occupied the east coast while we're weakened, they could actually do that. It would be over.
No, they couldn't occupy
You know, the population would be moving over to the east anyway.
and
Not fuck us.
and the National Guard would be occupying most of the continental United States.
Probably.
Let alone
Seriously,
all of us.
We'd be
God.
weakened though. We'd be in a weakened state. We'd lose
Yeah,
a
they could
lot.
seriously fuck us up with biological warfare,
Yeah.
but not nearly to the extent that they could, say, the Ukraine.
Well,
Because
also-
we just have medical technology to overcome
is true.
it eventually.
There's also, yeah. So the other thing is, I mean, they could probably get away with chemical warfare a hell of a lot easier because a lot of things that are used for chemical warfare will simply be dispersed, or they'll
Yep.
be
Dirty
they'll be-
bombs. Yes.
Well, no,
dirty
not-
bombs.
No,
I'm not talking about what happens to Max when he eats too much Taco Bell.
Ha. That's nasty, man. Why you were talking about sawdust tacos? Nasty. Sawdust.
Nasty. Chicken.
Sawdust. No, it's like sawdust, glass, death.
Nah, man. They add oats to it.
No, they add glass, oats, a little bit of sawdust, a little bit of this, a little bit
You know,
of
that's
that.
what came out of the last person who ate it.
Chicken.
Chicken, indeed.
On that note, I'm out.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Alright,
So,
alright.
honestly, before I go though, John, what do you think? Do you think if Russia freaking dirty bombed like half of the country, could they invade it after and take the other half? I think they
No.
could.
You
I think
can't
they-
fucking
there's one-
occupy a radioactive wasteland.
No, I'm saying the
I
other
agree with
half.
Nick. Nick
The
is
other
absolutely
half.
on point with this.
The
There's
other
no,
half. The
No,
other
okay.
half.
No. I get. Oh, the other half. Still
Yes,
no.
no.
because-
Listen to the question again. If they dirty bombed the entire West Coast and then invaded the East Coast, would
They
they
would
take the
fuck
East
the
Coast?
planet. Let me just
Yeah,
put it
where
that
are they
way.
going to invade from, dude? Like,
So it's not just that. Look, if you dirty bomb a coast, that
Yep.
stuff goes off in a runoff.
Yes, it
You would be
does.
fucking the whole Pacific region,
Yep,
which
Mhm.
includes Russia.
this is true.
Like, the question is absurd because they'd have bigger problems to deal with. So the answer to your question is no. Like I said, Nick was like that's why Nick was completely on point.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
guess.
it's a simple no. Like, you know, you can make fun of me for using the phrase "quote unquote" covert nuke, but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, no. I get you.
Yeah. But that's my thoughts on that. If Russia and the United States go to
Covert
war,
nuke.
well, covert nukes aside, if Russia and the U.S. go,
God damn it. Radiation fades after a few decades. Okay.
Alright, I'll tell you what, Varric. I want you to go walk out.
Go to Chernobyl for me.
Yes,
tell me
go
how
walk.
it's going over
Nah, go walk into the Chernobyl zone. Like, I want you to walk into ground zero without a suit.
there. And then come back and go, yeah, guys, don't worry about it. It washes right off. It fades after a few decades.
Alright? Like, I don't want you to just go into Chernobyl. I want you, to
it
go
would
into
be
ground
hilarious,
zero.
though, because it would be the source of and the cure for all his problems. He'd be giving
Probably.
himself cancer that he might actually be able to cure on his own. Night, Varric.
It's horrible.
Okay. So Nick, you're now hands free, are you?
Yeah, pretty much. I finished the round of survival that you fuckers almost made me lose.
Damn it, Nick, I told you to smoke a cigarette.
No, you almost made me lose because you distracted me and I got shot up in the first round. So I was like,
Nick,
motherfucker.
don't be salty, you won. Calm
Yeah, exactly.
yourself.
I won myself $30,000. It was awesome.
To which you spent 40,000 on ammo.
No, I do it
down.
smart. I only use single shot. I use the musket and the marksman pistol. I can literally cover my cost by picking up money off
There are
the
people out there who are like, yeah, I got 30,000. How much you spend on ammo? 40.
Like, you suck. You don't know how to win survival. You do it, minimizing your shots.
Like when I see people, when I used to play that game and I saw people using the AK and just automatic things, I'm like, you're fucking retarded.
I'll see, like, I might use an assault rifle, but I'll just incrementally wave 1 through 3 as a single shot kill.
No, like, I can understand having to pull out the AK on, like, wave 10 if there's, like, 4 guys coming at you, but you don't use automatics and explosives through all 10 rounds. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, you can win it with a single shot pistol.
You can, and a shotgun. You absolutely can.
Well, like, that's what I used to do, but that just is tedious and it takes forever, so I'm trying to find a middle point where I can use the shotgun and the marksman pistol and minimize my ammo cost. Or I can just make it up by picking up a couple $100 off the dead bodies.
How about you just get God mode? Joke.
Because Rockstar doesn't take very kindly to people who cheat. And
I
I
know.
don't want to wind up wearing that dunce cap. Like,
Nah, man.
that sucks.
What you want is the VAC system to ban you from the server and
No.
delete your GTA account.
That would suck because then everybody else in this apartment building wouldn't be able to play Grand Theft Auto, and I know several other people do.
One topic I think that does need to be covered on like every stream until this is resolved. TPP. Any news on that?
It's horrible. That's what it is.
Running
It's
out
horrible.
of fucks to give about it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, that's
It's,
actually like we talk about all these minor censorship issues, like Mala Basari, she's going to jail because the own laws that she herself advocated for put her in jail, which is really
Put it this
funny.
way, John.
Yeah.
Put it this way. I'm gonna say what I said to you the last time. We have less than 3 months to all shut the fuck up about these other things, except the UN bullshit, because that was utterly retarded, and you should talk about that. Well, some of it. I must say that. Anyways, but 3 months to convince the Congress to collectively get off their fat ass and vote that shit down.
Well, so WikiLeaks has released the final IP chapter of TPP.
Yep, I saw. I read through it. It's bad.
Well, I haven't had time to keep up with some of these things recently.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, just if you're listening, yeah, go to your local congressperson, write to them, write to your senator, whatever, and tell them you do not want the TPP to pass, because otherwise, in less than 3 months, you're all fucked.
I live in Kansas City. My congressional representatives are fucking corrupt.
It doesn't matter, man.
Don't tell them you'll pay them and just Welsh on it.
Dude,
Seriously.
they don't give a shit.
It
They haven't given a shit for 100 years.
Well,
Doesn't
make them
fair
give it.
enough.
Make them care.
The mob couldn't make them care.
But maybe,
Nick, if they didn't care, then they wouldn't have been forced to say no to the last several bills that tried to get passed, like SOPA, PIPA, ACTA. Trust me, if enough people annoy a senator, no matter how retarded they are or extremists,
I said congressional reps.
they're gonna act upon it because it's in their best interest.
Congressional representatives, not
Yes.
senators.
Yes, but the senators go and talk with the congressional.
in this context, there is no real difference between a senator and a congressional representative, as retarded as that sounds.
Well, no, they're all Congress people, right? So just write
No,
your,
there's
write your
a
representatives.
difference
They're all the
between-
same thing there.
There's a difference between the Senate and the Congress. I'm saying though, but the
No,
Senate.
Congress is comprised. They're all part of the same fucking whole.
Yes.
Senators
Well,
are a different bag because they can actually be pressured.
That's what I'm
Representatives are
saying,
much
though.
more difficult
Senators
because they're
vote
mostly
and talk.
working on keeping their job.
Yes.
So they're
senators.
constantly
Yes.
for
That's what I was trying to
re-election as opposed to giving a single fuck about their job.
Which is why
But-
I said write the people in Congress, because then it doesn't matter which house you choose.
Yeah. Just like my point is, write to somebody and like pressure them into giving a fuck, because it has
Dude.
worked in the past with SOPA, it's worked with PIPA, it's worked with ACTA, it's worked with a bunch of others. If
Dude,
everybody,
I don't want to status quo. Like, we just got a good mayor. I don't want to fuck up a good thing. We got a good mayor. Like, I don't want to stir the pot and like fuck everything
you don't
up.
have to. Though you don't have
Rabble-rousing
to.
shit.
Just anybody who wants to, go and do it. Because otherwise, I'll see you all in the dark net.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun as that is. I like the open net. I like the clear better.
Yep.
Fuck.
I'm gonna get off though.
So I guess the next time we can do something on this channel will be the end of next week. I'm gonna be at a conference like starting like this morning through Thursday. So I'll
Football game yesterday?
yeah, I didn't bother waiting to see what the end of that was. Actually, it's funny. We had 21 unanswered points, three unanswered touchdowns in a row. After they scored twice on us. Ridiculous.
Well, how'd you get from like football game to conference?
Oh no. This is a technical conference.
Job stuff.
Oh yeah. So this is me having to do STEM word responsibilities.
That's so gay though.
I'm giving a
Alright.
talk, all right? So I have to actually be there.
See,
Dude, I have to give talks all the time, but I never do. I never do.
That's silly. I mean, that's how you get your name out there.
No, I don't want to talk to a bunch of undergrad plebs in a
Oh
casual...
no, I'm talking to the people like that I reference for papers and shit.
Oh, well, that's understandable. I, however, refuse to talk to the undergrad plebs.
I mean, those kinds of talks can be fun.
No, they're not fun, because they're all stupid. And I swear to God, I get sick of the tedious, repetitive questions. I'm just like, fuck you guys. You go. You know what? You guys go to class. You get back to me when you're done, and then we'll talk about it. Alright, that's what I did. You fuckers can do the same.
When I taught fluids, it was interesting because I taught it effectively in 6 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 2 days before each of the 3 tests, and they'd show up. I'd go ahead, and we started off like, this is a control volume, and then we got all the way through Navier-Stokes and piping and so on. But yeah, it's just 2 days before each of the 3 tests. And that was ridiculous. Alright.
Wait, you taught fluid dynamics?
Yeah.
Oh. Damn, dude, that sucks.
Well, I was looking for something to do. I took a spring off after I graduated, and I got bored after I slept for like a month. And decided, I can do this stuff. I might as well offer my services as tutoring a class to AICHE.
Dude, fluid mechanics, at least where I went to school, was reserved exclusively for the engineers, who are masochists. I was like, fuck that. I'm not taking fluid mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, thermodynamics, that shit is fun. Quantum mechanics, that is fun. Mechanics, that is fun. Fluid dynamics, nope. I only want to deal with gases or solids, nothing else.
Yeah.
It's just plasma.
I do any fluid. So generalized Newtonian equations. So viscosity.
Fuck that, dude.
So I deal with like shear thinning stuff and so on. And like
hey man, I'm down. Yeah. I'm down for plasma. All right, that's just superheated gas. Yeah. Really easy to predict.
But you don't have viscosity with a plasma. Well, you have some kind, but it's barely viscosity.
Well, you have vital forces, but
Hey guys,
really
look
not
listen
much.
in the chat. It's
yeah, I see it.
Yes, that is brilliant. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Who's in SRH Buzz? Like
it's Nyberg of all Nikolai.
Not the real one, but it's still funny. And for those who don't know what Miss Butts is saying, you Gators should check your white privilege. That's funny.
Yeah.
Man, can somebody please pull a Nick Bateman on SRH Buzz? Like, seriously, just get him in prison.
Fuck.
I think that might actually happen. I mean, there's still more investigative research to be done, and I fully implore people to actually investigate that fucker until because, yeah, it's not pretty.
Like, I'm so sick to death of his Twitter account. I'm sick to death of just
Well, speaking of which, let me just pop open an incognito here.
He's very trigger.
I'm sure I'm still blocked, which is really not a bad thing.
You're blocked by Butts?
I don't know. I thought I was as well.
How do you achieve such an honor?
I don't want to know.
I thought you had to be like absolutely. The only person I know that was blocked by Butts was Low Ping, and that's about it. And
maybe I wasn't done.
Yeah, in Low Ping's case, Butts didn't. That's not really an honor. That's just the typical reaction to Low Ping.
Butts tried to get me banned. Got my account shut down for like 3 tweets where I said, "Fuck you, Butts, you fucking pedophile," and that's it. 3 tweets, had to delete them. I was like, motherfucker.
Oh boy, Butts is back online. I thought that was the word.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Don't do it.
Okay. Wait. Is Butts did Butts deactivate or?
I thought Butts kind of went underground for a little bit after the shitstorm for whatever reason that happened yet again.
Wait, what shitstorm? Did I miss
No, the part where Butts just kind of came back up, and then everyone all right, let's get this shit to the relatives.
Wait. So you're telling me there was a Hurricane Milo too?
I thought there was just the Milo 1.
I know there was Hurricane Milo 1, but when was the second shitstorm?
Well, I guess it was just recently, right?
I have no idea, dude.
Okay. In any event, Yeah, Sarah went underground for a little. Well, Nick went underground for a while. Actually, sorry, that's just not kind. Nicholas went underground for a little bit.
Thank you. Fuck.
Wow.
Why is everybody I know named Nick also a criminal? Myself included.
The
There's
GG
probably-
site interview. Okay.
Maybe it's just,
Gamergate has a site now.
maybe it's just like, maybe it's a skeezy name. It doesn't sound particularly skeezy though.
Maybe people named Nick or I have no idea. You'd have to ask. That would require some really
You have
hard.
to ask a lot of other people named Nick.
I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I've known a couple of them, and they were fuckers. Then again, I do attract the worst kind of people for whatever reason. Thus, for the past year and a half or so, my social isolation, among other reasons, but long story. Fucking goddamn! I've hated every single Nick I've ever met,
Well,
myself included.
You're
there you
strange,
go.
Nick.
The minute and a half is over.
Though I have to say, I do like your avatar. It's one of the
What,
best
the-
avatars I've seen. Yeah.
The dancing cigarettes?
Yes.
I can show you where to get it.
Cool.
Let's see. YouTube. Oh, Craig,
Yes.
share this. I'm going to send you a link, and you're going to share this shit, alright?
Sure, hell.
Like, I don't know.
Tweet it out or put it on
You're
screen.
the techie. You're the techie, man. You figure it
Whatever.
out.
Fair enough. It's funny. That's actually something that I have to relate back to, especially people who are just walking in like a toddler into a college classroom. In the Unit Ops lab, when I teach that, I have to relay back the information. If you haven't learned it yet, you're going to learn it here. You're an engineer. Figure it out.
Hey, man, that's basically been my entire physics career.
Yeah.
It's like, you sort of, at least for me, I wound up,
Well, the people who don't figure it out end up being, the people who let the bridge fall down. Somehow
Well-
they get a job.
well,
That's the scary part.
I got into physics in high school, and the day I got there, I realized the teacher was the devil. I mean, he expressed as much himself in no uncertain terms. And then he, during test, he would like blast AC/DC just to fuck with us. But he arrived and he was like, "Yeah, you're basically gonna have to teach yourself calculus." I was like, "Uh-oh." I was like, "This is not good. I'm only just now starting calculus."
By the way, guess who's back again?
I don't know. Who is back again?
Phil Fish.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No one cares.
Now,
Oh,
well,
are you
I think
saying
it just
we're
might
finally
be.
gonna get whatever gay ass game number 2?
Oh,
No.
Fez. You mean that hat? That shitty hat? Yes.
No, that will never come out again.
No, it's just going to get canceled again when he live hacks himself again.
No, he came back apparently to shill his friend's game according to his timeline. However,
Yeah,
I
sure.
think this is a brilliant opportunity to troll him.
Well,
Like-
what? By making him feel like wanted, accepted by humanity?
Hey, Craig, here's the link. Screen share this, blast this shit. It's awesome.
Okay, I need to see this. Go to YouTube. Hold on a moment. God damn it. Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Yeah, really. You gotta show my cigarettes, dude.
Okay, so unfortunately, no, this thing isn't gonna have sound, but you can do that shit on your own.
Alright, fine. Let me crank up the volume.
Whatever the hell.
No. I'll crank up the volume. Just tell me when to.
It's too late, man. It's going.
Oh fuck! What? Alright.
They're doing the maypole dance. It's already over.
Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to you, honey, with the right to left date. Friend right and left around.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you a special message from RJ Reynolds.
I guess the FDDA will come against us now.
Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky Strike is first again. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a Lucky Strike. Something that's bound to like you just can't beat a Lucky Strike.
You're such a faggot.
No, I'm not a fan. Alright, man. This shit was just fucking hysterical.
He's not a faggot. He's a pack of faggots.
Goddamn right, I come in 20s. I'm a bundle of cancer sticks.
All right. Do we have any more topics to talk about tonight? I mean,
I didn't really have a big plan here. It's just like just get something in there because there was so much ridiculous retardation that happened this week. And we said, yeah, Sargon kind of lost it. I mean, when I was talking to him, I just disagreed politely with like one thing, and I guess he was being shat on from all sides.
All right, I'll tell you what, John. I'll be polite, and I'm not going to be snide or whatever, no rhetoric or nothing. I'm genuinely curious. What will it take for you to sort of move on from this point?
Which one? There's several disagreements I have at this point with.
Well, to me, it seems your main point of contention was that, ignoring the Sargon leaks, which I really don't know anything about. Your main point of contention was that he didn't disclose getting press coverage from like tiny niche outlets or something.
No, here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about Satan's argument and why he's wrong, regardless of how salient he was. The reason why he was wrong was he ultimately believes that there can be multiple truths, and that we cannot discern the truth from what someone says, and we can't take people at their word, which is complete nonsense. So essentially, what Sargon did was a lie, and no matter how much Satan tries to obfuscate what a lie is and isn't, that was definitely a lie because it was factually incorrect information that he had clear motive for. And this idea that, oh, well, he just misspoke is completely ridiculous because he kept on going on about it.
Well, we've apparently piqued some interest in the chat here to go into detail about what was going on with Sargon earlier.
Oh, okay. For those who don't know, it recently came to light that Sargon basically had undue influence on the SBJ panelists, including a very big conflict of interest by editing the document that Mark Seb had.
We should be very clear right there, I am disagreeing with you in principle here, but it's the devil's advocate as well. It should be clear that this is your interpretation as to what level of influence he had.
At this point, yes, it has to be left up to a matter of interpretation at this point because there's still a matter of the other people who were involved in that phone call having to give their sides of the story.
And unlike a certain furred individual, you'll be able to say yes or no to questions, correct?
Yeah.
Fucking.
I wasn't like the.
Okay.
Basically, what we know is from a ghost bin, and B, from what Mark Seb and Sargon have said, and QQ has said. And QQ is being someone who actually is a part of the Green Grapist. We should probably put that out there in the context of the conversation.
Yeah.
I had QQ speak on my channel, and we questioned him.
You did not, however, have him say yes or no, which I found infuriating at the time.
You mean you think I should have grilled him on that point?
I think it was a very simple fucking question.
And
you could have just said yes or no.
Potentially yes, but if he doesn't want to answer, the reason why I didn't grill him was if he didn't want to answer, I couldn't force an answer out of him.
Right, but you could have left it at that.
Yeah. Well,
I saw your point. I saw the rationale for him not answering. I also saw how silly it was at the time.
The reason why I gave that rationale was only because Doomscander was basically giving his own interpretation of QQ's refusal to answer, so I gave a counterpoint to that.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It's just like it's just if it was a very weak argument.
From my part?
Like both ends of it. Just like if he's not going to answer the question, move on and leave it at, hey, he
Agreed.
didn't answer it.
Agreed, but it would have been better to give a counterpoint than to have left it at his word and then just leave that imparted on the viewer's mind. Because,
So,
yeah,
anyway, we can move on from that.
I'm pretty sure that particular bit will come up, will be found out over time. It's a matter of...
That's why I think it's silly. It's really not like it's just like when he was pulling off his little troll with Gamergate Pro, and it's just that, like, you know, the guy's nice and all. It's just he can't pull off a troll. It's everyone knew that at the end before he finally broke down and said yes, that it was him.
Pretty much.
And it's just like, you know, it went from being funny to being still funny that you're making everyone cringing, to then being just fucking annoying.
I guess.
That was my interpretation anyway.
Gotcha.
Here's what I was interpreting, what's his name? Satan to be saying. What I was taking him to say is that with spoken language, you can have statements of incredulity. That is, like, this person is fucking insane. But you're not testifying to that. But if you were to say it in court, it means something else entirely. When
And
you
I'm
say
gonna,
someone
before we go into that
court,
particular bit about that particular point, because I argued about that point for 2 hours with that guy, and the problem with his argument is he's basically applying absurd levels of minutia, like court of law and other stuff, for something that is simple matter of someone said something of their own self-interest that was contradictory to the
just
truth.
making an example to tell you what I was taking from what he was saying.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's what I was registering. Now, to me, that sounds pretty sound, and I'm wondering, like, beyond just that, if that doesn't convince you, what would it take to sort of move on to the next point? And I'm not trying to be a jackass. I'm actually interested.
I'm actually ready to move on to the next point from that, because I think that is a very minor point there, and maybe Satan was trying to hint at me about that I was being obtuse about that particular point about him lying, because there is a greater issue at hand with that I
Let's go into that.
up. Yes. Now, this is pointed out by people who watched the stream, and I saw, like, Anon's, like, bring this up. Basically, Sargon gave, like, I at the time I said there was something wrong with what he was saying, but I couldn't put my finger on it, about his business strategy of getting friends and family to promote his Kickstarter campaign. I was like, no, that's not quite right. The reason that people pointed out is what he did there was astroturfing. He gave the appearance of grassroots effort to support his project, when in reality it was just friends and family donating. And that basically gave him undue press coverage as a result. And this was later brought to Sargon's attention, and he just mocked the concept of him having done anything wrong. Like, in the same vein that you would see John Scalzi basically go ahead and say, oh, I've been caught in a clear conflict of interest. That's not a problem for me. And keep in mind, Scalzi's on record saying that, oh, well, people shouldn't, authors shouldn't get themselves involved.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a skew comparison to bring in. So
it's not.
The comparison's fine. We don't have to go into more about Scalzi to clutter the issue if you're trying to talk about Sargon.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
I'm not trying to defend Sargon either, because frankly, I haven't looked into it, and I don't really have a horse in the race. What I was trying to get at on Twitter, and perhaps I am incorrect on ad nauseum and whether or not it's synonymous with argument by repetition. Regardless, what I was trying to get at was that it seemed like you were coming to the point of just having a grudge match over small, tedious details when there are other things to move on to. That was really what I was trying to get at on Twitter.
Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, I'm not going to disagree with you there. honestly, I should have just ended the stream when Sargon left, to be perfectly honest. I've been told about that, and that's why it has a million thoughts of thumbs down. And I don't blame them. It does not make good for good listening entertainment. Like, there does come a point where people just...
Or it gets fucking boring.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just like the entertainment thing. To me, I was just sort of baffled at how long this thing went on. And that's really what I was probing at in a crude manner on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, that makes sense. That does actually make sense. The problem was Satan was using a rhetorical tract where he wanted the conversation to deliberately go in that direction, and I basically fell for it. He's a self-admitted troll. What can I say?
So, that is really the source of our misunderstanding, at least the way I see it.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Well, the thing was, I thought you were talking about the whole thing with the ghost spin, because you were replying to a twit longer about something else, and I'm like, what?
No, I was really, that's probably an error, a fuck up on my part. I was really referring to your stream because I had watched it the previous night, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that stream is really that stream was one of the worst. The stream after that, though, is much better in my opinion. Although that one could have been better, for sure.
That's really all I was coming from.
Yeah. As far as the Sargon leak goes, I still think there's more investigative matters that need to be done. But from what has been said so far by the parties involved, the evidence would conclude that there was definitely it was definitely an act of collusion that was done there. And I've actually talked to other people about this in other streams, and it basically comes down to Sargon is a YouTuber, and he does act in a journalistic capacity with his news show, This Week in Stupid, and he's basically not applying the standards he's asking of other journalists to himself, because he's going into a private Skype call to a publicly supported event and acting against their interests by removing him from scrutiny.
Well, allow me to collude here with everyone else briefly. You should go click on this link because this game is fucking awesome.
All right. Now, one thing that does need to be kept in mind, though, is that this isn't saying any and all collusion is unethical. It is saying that collusion that causes a conflict of interest is unethical.
Again, I don't really have a horse in the race.
Gotcha.
And, maybe Sargon did break some confidentialities, or at least some public trust. You know what I mean? But one thing I will defend him on is I don't think he's malicious. I think, in my opinion, I think it'll boil down to incompetence. Now, that's my opinion, my personal assessment, but that's just what I think.
I recommend you watch the recent stream he was on with Netscape that I got, that I watched. Basically, he goes off into a lot of things about how it basically has him talking down to everyone who doesn't agree with his way, including his insistence that basically he's saying, "Oh, I think that we're better off just not using the Gamergate hashtag, guys, because it's all over, and anyone who still uses Gamergate, they're just being really, really silly, and I just don't want to have anything to do with it anymore." And he's basically talking completely condescending. Like, it always seems to swing back to me when Sargon brings up these controversies nowadays. And he basically says multiple times that, "Oh, I think John Kelly's the most reasonable one of them," and he keeps on saying this about me, right? And then he goes on, and then Netscape brings up, "Well, why do you keep on calling him autistic and stuff like that, and just dismissing him offhand?" And Sargon's justification for this, instead of going for his usual just, oh, those just insults or whatever sort of thing, he goes on to say, "Well, I actually think he is autistic, which is why it was okay for him to treat me the way he does." I'm not joking.
I think he's got a quick temper. And I think there's also he's very quick to go on the defensive. Like you saw what happened with Zenistrad, where he just hammered the point until Zenistrad lost the will to fight back. So I think in that sense, that's much of the source of his conflict with you. It's very difficult for him to let go. That's again. I'm not rendering any judgments here. I'm not sitting here and saying anybody's right or wrong. That's just my assessment of his character.
I actually don't disagree with that particular aspect of his character. I think that is actually spot on with that one. The thing for me though is that it's the more that he keeps on making this personal, the harder it is for me to really look at the situation and analyze it critically. Like I could still do that, but he keeps on after he keeps on going for trying to go for a personal insult or personal insult, and he keeps on doing what he can to poison the well with me. Like he's basically going for the Shatterscott method. Whatever insult will stick, he'll try to stick labeling me with it. Whether he tries to call me a shill, he tries to call me an autist, he tries to call me I don't know, obsessed, I guess, a conspiracy theorist, whatever he can. And yet, that becomes part of the problem because it gets to a point where I'm still against the guy. I still think that he's an issue, and I still think that the clout he has and the public, and I don't think people should be giving him the credence he has, just like people should be giving Anita the credence that she has. They're pretty much two sides of the same coin at this point. But I just don't want to talk about it anymore because it's just getting holy crap, this guy. It's basically. And
I wouldn't say he's the opposite token to Anita, but he is getting sort of comical at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's there should honestly someone this is a case of where someone like me or someone else who's interested in this kind of stuff should do more investigative work, but it's I'm just completely bummed out by the whole experience of this whole thing after just being I don't even know how to explain it. It's he's deliberately wearing his critics down, at least from my perspective.
Well, I had something to say on Twitter. I put together a little ridiculous rant of my own. I just share this one with you. Which you might have seen just from the bottom up.
All right.
More or less, I was mocking the whole tirade that Sargon was going on and the responses to it.
Yeah. It's yeah. that is pretty accurate.
Again and again and again. Oh wait, even better yet, this was just happenstance ad infinitum.
Mm-hmm.
More or less ad nauseum.
Yeah, but another part, and it's not just, I don't want to just, it's not just me either. People have, he's also been doing it to just random people have been, saying, hey, this is kind of bullshit. And then instead of, in a lot nicer terms than I or other of his critics have been as harsh on. In fact, one person said, I'm neutral in the whole situation. Said, oh, you're neutral just like Switzerland was? And he seriously just basically went ahead and said someone that was completely undecided on the issue and told him to get lost. A tactic that he's criticized SJWs for when it came to Gamergate.
Mark Stern comes to mind right away.
Yeah. And it's that kind of attitude that it just reinforces an adage that I've had for a while now, which is the greater issue isn't whether or not a mistake was made, but how you address the mistake. That's the real thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the mistake is pretty fucking important. But, let's be honest in that. Still, restitution and so forth afterwards is really quite significant.
Yeah.
What I mean to say there is, I don't think a guy just kind of wrote an apology letter after Chernobyl.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much executed. Nobody comes from that guy again.
It's hey guys, I fucked up, man. I mean, I know graphite's pretty conductive, but I didn't think it was that conductive.
Yeah, it was traceable to a couple people.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody ever heard from them again.
And I mean, it sucks that might have been the way it was handled, but the path between the 2 points of them being alive and them being dead, there was a pretty confined, narrow region of space where they might have had anything positive to say between there, and they kind of got shafted right there and then.
I mean, what are they gonna say?
Oops.
Yeah.
My bad.
For the moment, I just want to break from this whole Sargon thing because it's beyond ridiculous that it still needs talking about. To be honest, I think that one thing I can learn from this experience is work on messaging a lot more. Because
Yeah.
while I don't while in an argument I do not like it when the other person knows what I'm saying, but then they'll go ahead and say, "Oh, well, you clearly are using the wrong words here. Let me help you try to make your argument better by changing your opinion to conform with mine." You might notice people doing that a lot, but regardless, messaging is still very important, and you should be able to get your words out there. So
Yeah.
I
This is
do
what I
that.
meant by your diction.
I
Yeah.
do that shit for fun, except I do the opposite, where I tell them, "Here's how you could actually beat my argument," and I give them the argument, and then I beat it.
Oh, it can be fun to fuck with people like that. Like, I don't have anything against that.
Well, yeah, if I'm being a particularly vindictive prick, I'll do something similar. But normally I like to let people defeat their own arguments and then inform them that they have.
Oh no, dude, I'm sadistic. I will let them impale themselves. Then I'll help them up, and then help them impale themselves again.
Yeah. No, you just every time they make a shitty argument, I take that as a brick and I will build a tower over them, and then I'll start taking their arguments and feeding them back in the conversation, removing them from the bottom of the tower, if you will. And at a certain point, I will yell Jenga, yank out one of their arguments, and let them get caught under the massive pile of bullshit they have constructed on their own.
I mean, those gotcha moments that you just build up. There's something about arguing which it's really therapeutic. Oh my god.
It can be.
I cannot tell you how much steam I blow off just by telling someone they're wrong and watching them rage quit.
Yeah. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna end up being frustrated and mad and angry with yourself, and that's not a good way to live.
In metaphorical terms, it's like weaving a very intricate call it. What are those? It's not a canvas.
Tapestry.
Yeah, it's like a tapestry. You make it beautiful, and then you pull the one string and watch it fall apart.
Nick, let me give you a formal
God.
invitation to the halls of debate.
Oh, god damn it. You see this too from Epic Suck?
No, I didn't, and I guess that joke didn't go over as well as expected to.
Well, I'm on the
Sargon's
lowest
position
broadband setting.
summarized. God damn it.
I can't see. I can't actually see the whatever.
Oh, I'm not showing it right now. I was just looking at my Twitter feed.
Oh, what did?
Epic Suck says Sargon's position summarized. He also wants to take back the tech. And then he said, he quoted someone and said, "If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear."
Wait, what?
He quoted someone saying, "If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear."
I can't believe. Did he really say that?
Sargon did not say
Hey.
that. Epic Suck is
What?
saying that that was his position summarized, which I think is kind of bogus.
I think he actually may have said that on a stream someplace. I'm not 100% sure. Let me ask him.
Well, I mean, the words might have come out of Sargon's mouth, but I imagine he was mocking somebody else.
What's the link
Quite,
for?
quite possibly.
Let's see.
The Tico link.
Oh, there's that. Hold on a second. I'm getting it for you.
Anyway, what was the quip about argument? I was actually a little
Here is
distracted.
the link that I saw, and he just responded to a different link he had.
Here we go. Alright, check this shit out. Awesome.
And
Sargon's position somewhere.
here's the link that John just... That's John's tweet and what he was responding to.
Come on. Fuck you, computer. You suck so much.
Well,
dick.
I was trying.
So
So, I know I can tell you about it real quickly because another thing that he brought up, and someone was trying to mock me for this, which is just, you know what, you go ahead, buddy. It's like patting a toddler on the head when they say something completely retarded at a formal dinner. You feel almost proud of them. Sargon said that, at least with pseudonym, it's one person talking to you. and you can point to the individual. It's like, no, that's one pseudonym talking to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
It can
You
be
want a
many.
counterexample? You want a
can be-
counterexample to that?
No, it can be
Okay.
many individuals. Like
Right.
just any company is a good example of this.
Yeah.
It's that or shared Twitter lists do exist.
Correct.
Or better yet, what Ray does, which 8 Twitter accounts.
Which is why I said low ping, because low ping is controlled by 5 people. So it's like, is it one person or a group of people? Like, that's the question there. And as far as the whole
And
notion
then
of
someone said, "Hey, I don't see how I can get this." How I can get this, and Craig can't. At which point, that was where I was just like, you know what, you go for it. You make that point all you want.
yeah. Also, I really don't get why he's saying that. Oh, well, they're all anonymous, therefore we can't differentiate between them. That
They
is
have
complete-
IDs on the individual posts have IDs.
even if they
Well,
don't have IDs.
Not on B, though.
Right, even if they don't have IDs, which IDs is one example of how you can differentiate. Another way you can differentiate is posting style, the images being like there's different ways you can tell the different posters are on the board. At the very least, you'll be able to see UIDs and number of posters, because I think that like Sargon may have been thinking that there was only 10 or so users on the board.
There isn't. There's more.
No, there has to be. I estimate before his flip out and before he just megaphoned the board. But which, by the way, thank you for that. I do have to thank you for giving GG Revolt the spotlight it deserves, because it is a free speech board, which cultural libertarian maxim 1, free expression. Besides that, before that it was about 100 to 120, and now it's like 200. So even if we want to say that there are some VPNs on there, like it would still have to be like 100, like at least 175. We're going to be have a reasonable estimate there. Like there's just no way that people are just like going about with like hundreds of VPNs to like make it so that way 10 people with like 200.
Yeah, apparently, I guess Louis Laval thought I was shitting on him somehow. But that's what I get for doing the neighborly thing. And then it's just Flapaholic James comes in. That's what I get. That's what you get. I mean, look at your logo. Totally asking for it. God damn it. Alright, fuck that. Anyway, well, that's enough drama shit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, basically, to succinctly summarize that shit, it's called same faggotry. You can tell.
Yeah. Just have to spend time on the chan.
Correct.
Lurk more. Again, summarize.
There you go.
Succinctly.
Lurk more and not your private army.
I think that's going to be my default response to people criticizing different boards they clearly don't know anything about. I'm going to say lurk more.
Well, that is the default response.
Yes, we should go back to more default responses unless. Well, let me tell you,
Well,
5
we're
different.
not a hive mind.
True, but like when it comes, like a big problem I'm seeing with people making arguments online, stuff like that, is they're too long and rambly about it. And yeah, I know that's me saying this. Just do the small point and just move on. That's all you have to do. Like, that's far more effective than going on for hours and talking to the same person. Unless you want to have fun shit posting, in which case have at thee. But if you want to like, you really want to like, you want to you just want to get it in once, and if they have the last word, so what? They don't win.
Well, actually, this is funny. Also, so I did have one point where I think it might have been that he had so many other people talking to him, but there was one point where I think I just kind of, I don't know, maybe I hit the reset button on his head or something. Sargon I flat out said something untoward, at which point he said, "Sorry, what?" So, yeah. And let's see, where was it? As he says, no, GGR is a source of calls for doxing. Doesn't happen on any other GG board. It's as specific as it can be.
Yes,
I wasn't
actually,
having
it does
any of
happen.
that.
It does
Doesn't have any of that, so I said, as were the calls to divorce oneself from catering to gamers, namely that gamers are no longer your audience, yada yada. I mean, they were being as specific as they could be, considering they weren't bothering to go and find out who the gamers were that were doing this stuff. They all have pseudonyms, right? So they just kind of called them gamers. That was the comparison I was making, which got a sorry what.
Well, before like Gamergate even broke, V was not a
So then they turned into a pile of shit again.
particularly combative board. Like V and Paul are the combative boards.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why was everybody shitting on V? It's like, damn.
Yeah. Let's see.
It is
And then
funny.
that guy Riverface just, I mean, he's nice and all. He just didn't get what I guess was saying, or was being hyperbolic on his own.
Oh, it's like that one time with AGG and the other feminist foot soldier that we demolished.
Oh, Team. Whatever the, not Helicopter yet, but the other one.
Wait, was it Helicopter?
No, it was Helicopter, and it was the other one. I couldn't remember his name. It's Team something. Doesn't matter.
Oh, well, those two faggots. Like, fucking hell, they just could not understand the concept of a no-identity identity. Like,
Oh,
non-identity.
shit, Batman's in. Not in here, but in the chat.
Non-identity as an
Get your ass on here.
Jesus, like, what is wrong with you two fucking retards? Those two I honestly could not, like, understand until the very end. I was just like, what?
Well, I mean,
what are you not grasping?
I just, yeah. So AGG's like, so Helicopter guy. He seems somewhat reachable. You know, especially after he got so apparently personally butthurt by Grey Knight just unleashing his pent up ire from, I don't know, maybe the past 10 years of his life on him.
Yeah, I got sort of the same treatment.
He got like an ocean of shit, and he's just like, how can we fix this, Grey Knight?
It's like he honestly thought that this argument's going to amount to anything. Well, an argument. Although Grey Knight did give me the same treatment over something, you know, related to
Trivial.
trans people off air, and I was just like, motherfucker, I'm not gonna deal with this shit. Like, and see, the thing is, like, I asked him, it's like, you know, why do you recognize they're trans while you're telling me that they're no different from cis heterosexual women? Why do you make the distinction if they're no different? As you know, because they are. I'm perfectly happy to be polite, but, you know, it is what it is.
You're right. I don't disagree with your notion that, like, you know, like, I don't disagree with that notion, but at the same time, I think the real problem is they've made transsexualism a political issue when it never should have been in the first place.
Well, yeah, that's been done with every possible political identity that has existed. So I wouldn't really worry about that as far as expecting the next one not to be co-opted in such a stupid fashion.
Yeah.
Like, homosexuality, I can understand the need for, like,
Political representation?
well, not political
Or
representation,
anything else beyond that?
but rights protection, because, well, it's not a mental illness. It's not anything abnormal. We can predict it in virtually all sexually reproducing species to a certain point. And
Being anonymous
but
is
in
bad, guys.
transsexualism, it's not even on a scientific level. So I don't understand why it's being treated as sort of a separate.
Oh,
Well,
Batman.
what I think
yes,
that-
Sarge is dead for about 2 weeks.
What I think that needs to happen is transsexuals need to recognize that they are the sex they're born in, and thereby the gender that they're born in, and they have a condition which makes them think that they're the opposite gender.
Well,
They-
so there is some basis for the condition. I mean, it is separate, but basically there is a sexual dimorphism to brain construction. Just the connectivity
I can agree
of
with that.
different regions. Well, I mean, there is research
Right.
I
I'm
can
not
show
deni-
you. So
not denying that. But
Yeah, there's higher concentration of white matter in female brains than
And there's
male
also
brains.
there's
However,
also regional connectivity distinctions, longitudinal or elsewise.
Right. In saying that, I mean that, just once you get past that hurdle, the rest doesn't really matter. Get the hormone treatment you need, get whatever, do what you have to do to make you be you, and then don't worry about the rest. I mean, the problem I'm seeing with trans advocacy is it's a joke. That's all it really is, because they're basically arguing for safe spaces, better representation of
Oh, that part of it is just fucking hilarious.
Yes, that is the part I'm having trouble with.
Sure.
Well, so here's the thing: I think there's a comorbidity to what's occurring. So the issue was the prevalence of suicide was not sufficiently, I think, curtailed by the advances in transition up at Hopkins. So they stopped doing the treatment completely. They are no longer advocating for transition. So they
stopped the surgical treatment, the hormone replacement treatment.
That part's still tenable. It's just like the surgical treatment was completely disbanded there because there was no change in suicidal ideation. About 40% prevalence of suicides. So I mean the idea there is there might be a comorbidity to the precondition that there are people that transition helps. And there are people who it clearly does not, evidenced by their suicide. So maybe there's something else going on there that the transition is not capable of fixing.
Well, I would say that when it comes to that whole physical transition, the SRS surgery, which is sexual reassignment surgery,
right.
I believe that should be taken off the table entirely. I don't think that's a viable option. I don't think it helps. I don't think it works.
Clearly, for some people, it is helping, but clearly,
I disagree.
It has no help whatsoever.
I disagree.
Yeah. There's obviously no correlation between treatment and surgery. I mean, it's optional at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've often said if I'm really if I have one of these if someone on Twitter is arguing with me, right, and they're it's like a tranny or something like that, and I'm ticked off, and I want to insult them. I will go for a polemic argument that's trannies are insane and need to be drugged, which is ostensibly true. It's a mean way of putting it, but it's true. Gender dysmorphia is
dysphoria.
Dysphoria, yes. It's a mental disorder as classified by DSM-5, or is it DMS-5?
DSM.
Okay, thank you.
DSM-5.
I will be right back, guys.
Okay,
give me about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay.
Anyway,
I'd agree. I'd agree with you, and I do have a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
Because it is some beyond people's control, and it is a hellish existence to be trapped within your own head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that. Well, just because you have a mental illness, you should have the right to serve in the military. It's not the same as being gay or being a woman.
No, it isn't. I agree with you there. Women serving in the military is kind of that I have some issues with, but it's far different from the issues I'd have with trannies joining the military. That is a different prohibitor of them joining, actually. Because you're absolutely right. It's not the same thing.
I mean, I'm barred from the military for, what should be obvious reasons on several levels. And as much as it disappoints me, and it really did disappoint me when I found out, because I had wanted to be in the Air Force initially, and I had worked to get into the Air Force Academy. And when I found out they kind of fuck you over when it comes to, being a pilot or being a desk jockey. It's basically a coin toss, quite literally, 50-50. And I didn't want to do that, but I was thinking about doing the Army. But, I had a whole bunch of shit, and I got diagnosed with mental illness, and I found out later that I'm ineligible to serve in the military. And as disappointing as it is, I understand why. And as difficult as it is, I can sit there and say that just because I want to doesn't mean that I have a right.
Agreed.
I recognize that I have a disability that would impede military success in that sense, and I can sort of let it go. I don't see why somebody with gender dysphoria should be in the military. It makes no sense to me.
Agreed.
It's like if I shouldn't be in there on account of needing medication to stabilize my mood, why would somebody else who needs medication in order to function on a basic level also be in the military?
Because progressives like to push issues over and over again under this vague notion of, I don't even know what to call it. It's like this. I don't even know how to properly explain it, and I probably explain it better other streams and stuff like that. But they just need to see certain people that are in their scope and their that they see as being marginalized, even if the marginalization doesn't actually exist. There's like a reason why things the way they are. They need to see the reason to elevate them like up into the rest of society, and anything to the contrary is just wrong, regardless of what facts and evidence you bring to the table. Like
it's bleeding heart syndrome.
Yeah, like there are times where this sort of activism did indirectly help establish some form of equality of opportunity. You could argue, you could make that
like
argument.
The liberation of gay people, and finally their ability to get married, as well as serve openly in the military, which, contrary to Republican claims, I think should be allowed, because that is something you should talk with your buddies about. But there's also the fact that under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, people would come under scrutiny and they would spend hours upon hours, where the goal was to try to get them to break psychologically and admit to it, and that's just unfair.
Interesting enough, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a progressive push.
I mean, it was a progressive push because Bill Clinton is a gigantic pussy.
No, I mean, before that, gays were just completely banned from the military. That's the whole point. That's the thing about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It's interesting because it started out where the people who wanted Don't Ask, Don't Tell put in were the progressives, and the ones who wanted it removed were later the progressives, which makes it funny. It's like it goes full circle. It's like they want X, and then they get X, and then they don't want X anymore, and they fight with the establishment, making them fight for what they originally advocated for in the first place.
It's just funny to me that Bill Clinton just wouldn't commit to it. He wanted to have the perfect solution. I was like, you cause more problems. Commit to one side or the other.
Yeah, but the point I was getting at was I don't agree with the tactics used by progressives to fix those wrong. To fix those, well, for the sake, I'm not necessarily sure if I'm not going to into the gay marriage thing, because I think that's a different issue, because I think the original purpose of marriage is inapplicable to gays entirely, but the original purpose of marriage was also about family building, and it's not that anymore because of divorce and stuff like that. But that's a more nuanced discussion for another time. The problem I'm
can I just make one comment on that?
Go for it.
Well, I agree with you that marriage is sort of defunct as a family building type deal. Well, for practical purposes, in my opinion, all I'm really concerned about is that if some people have the right but others don't, I mean, all I'm really concerned about is the legal inequality. If there are legal benefits for some people but not others, that's all I really care about correcting, making sure everybody has the same opportunity of access. That's just my thing about it.
Yeah. But the point I'm getting at is I think that people need to I think that isn't the appropriate solution. Instead of looking at this group that happens to be X is marginalized, it should be looked at there are people that are being marginalized for the wrong reason. People are being for example, it was posed to me an argument about judges being racist, right? Where the judge has this subconscious bias which causes him to have a verdict onto blacks which makes them unfairly sentenced over whites in aggregate, right? Not like an individual by individual basis, but on a societal level, right? The
No, I
problem
would agree
there,
with you about the tactics type shit. That has to go.
yes, that's the problem I'm having. It's like it should be looked at as humanistically as opposed to putting people into different categories and labels in order to resolve a problem of equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome.
Like, equality of outcome is just, it's absurd to me. This ain't physics, all right?
Yeah.
You know, people don't work like perfect gas particles. We don't have conservation of fucking outcome. It's not a net zero gain.
I agree, but the one thing that I will say is that I don't think equality of opportunity and equality of outcome are absolutes. I think that there is a degree. I think that they are degrees. Like, we should strive to equality of opportunity when possible, but there are sometimes practical limitations where equality of outcomes actually does trump equality of opportunities in some very, very specific cases.
I mean, they're sort of rare and far between, but it's the progressives. To me, it seems to like they've adopted, Newton's second law that all of the forces must equal this. The sum of all the forces must equal the same net outcome. And I'm just like, no, people don't work like that. You give them equal opportunity, particularly in areas like education and taxes and whatnot. And you hope for the best, but you realistically expect that some people just can't cut it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick to death of equality of outcome. It's not fair to people who work.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, actually, can we get into the take back tech thing? I did make that snide-ass remark about.
I think that, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is just me from hearsay, from what I've been seeing on Twitter, from some couple of videos I watched. I haven't done any proper research into it because today's been pretty blah for me. To my understanding, Take Back Tech is a push by progressives to basically say to put more it's to give it back to women, I guess, or something like that.
You never belonged to them. You never belonged to anybody.
Agreed. But it's a progressive push, correct? Specifically for treatment of women in tech.
Yeah, it always is. Some hyper leftist fuck who starts it.
Yep.
Bleeding heart syndrome. But from what I'm seeing, it's just social justice warriors talking about, let's put women and minorities back in tech. Blah, 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 blah. It's ours. Like, no, it's not.
Nobody owns tech.
Like, the people that tech belongs to are, one, the producers, and two, the consumers. That's it. It doesn't require you to be a certain skin complexion. It requires you to work hard in order to buy shit or work hard in order to make shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's truly reflective of how lazy people have become. And it really bothers me. Because it used to be that I could get my ass kicked for getting a C. Now, given that was back in the 90s. But, if I didn't work hard...
They're in a bag.
Welcome back.
I was liable to get my ass kicked for not working hard.
So, as far as I knew with Take Back the Tech, there was something to do with the UN there. Let me go find it real quick.
Yes, I believe it did have to do with the UN.
There was something with the UN, and it's not something new. But the hashtag was the whatever stupid ass project they have for that is not new.
I know they were recycling some of the concepts from what was it? It was way back last year. Internet, no. No. It's an old ass hashtag.
There's a fucking website. That's great. TakeBackTech.net. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, hold on a moment.
Yeah.
You can just take this site in for a minute.
No, take back the net. Remember that hashtag now.
But wait a minute. You missed the first one. See, this is what happens when things are tough and for whatever reason you can't get to the tech. Just go have a hug and you'll invent a cell phone. That's how it works, right, guys?
They recycled Take Back the Net.
16 days of activism against gender-based violence. That's what this is for. That's fucking amazing.
What, Take Back Tech?
Yeah,
Wait,
I
they actually...
Look at this. I realize you can't...
So I was off the mark, actually. They're actually making an issue of gendered violence.
See that? That's bullshit.
We need to mock this.
Well, it's not just bullshit. It's fucking hilarious.
Well,
this is ridiculous. You can't do violence over fucking broadband.
But Nick, you don't have any idea what your words might do to somebody else.
Hey man, maybe
not talking to someone is violence, according to some
quantum mechanics is all bullshit, and
Nick, you went silent. Okay.
Well, I think it's do you think we've talked about all the relevant issues, or is there any other news that's come up recently?
Yeah, I think that's more or less what's gone on this week. Yeah, but that was I think that's I think that's somewhat what's I think that's somewhat satisfied what people are asking for. If we're going to keep doing podcasts or what have you. So, in any event, if that's all we've got, then we can go ahead and wrap things up here because I got to actually pack for my conference. Mm-hmm. So, thanks everyone for watching, and have a nice evening.
Have a good night.